In this video, I'm going to break down all of the Modern Warfare 3 Zombies gameplay mechanics, as earlier this week, I got to play 1 hour of Zombies at Treyarch, and I have so much to tell you so that you know everything you need to know about the game mode. We got a lot to talk about, so it's so important you watch the video through to the end so that you don't miss out on anything. Now, straight up, this is not a round-based Zombies mode. This is going to be an extraction-based game loop that incorporates DMZ with Outbreak. Now, the way that the gameplay works is that you'll be surviving at your own pace, where there'll be escalating zones of difficulty based on the location you are in on the map, rather than it be based on time or the number of kills. Now, the game's time that you're allowed for one session is an hour long. Once that timer hits 0, the ether storm will start coming in, where you have a further 15 minutes in order to extract safely. Just like with any Zombies mode, the main aim is that you're going to be earning points by killing zombies, which you will need in order to upgrade your weapons to make them more powerful, and especially if you want to go into the more higher tiered zones, which are the medium and high threat zones, you're going to need to have powerful weaponry with multiple tiers of Pack-a-Punch in order to take down these zombie types. The first areas that you spawn in will be called the low threat zones, which are equivalent to playing round-based zombies on round 5, where you'll be on the edges of the map, where you will just have some zombies around, you'll have some hellhounds, but there'll also be this mercenary AI, which we will go on about a little later. But very similar to DMZ, you choose your loadout in the menu before you go in, you choose your weapon, you can tune it in the gunsmith, and you can also choose the field upgrade that you're going to take in, as well as seeing what size backpack and armor plate carrier that you have. Unlike Outbreak, where you could roam any part of the map at any point that you wish, this mode works very differently. We're going to spawn in on the edges of the map as a low threat zone infill, and that's going to be equivalent to round 5 zombies, where you're just going to have some normal zombies, you're going to have some hellhounds, and you're going to have some mercenary AI that we'll talk about a little bit later. But very similar to Outbreak, you're going to earn points very slowly by just killing zombies, because there's going to be so many zombies that are going to be on the map. So your main way of earning points is going to be by completing contract missions, which are very similar in the sort of mechanics and the way that they work to DMZ. There's even some missions which are exactly the same as they were in DMZ, but there's also a lot of very unique ones that are created just for the zombies narrative. But by completing them, you will earn yourself some points, and you'll also earn a reward rift, which you will interact with, and it will give you potential reward like a free perk, or even an upgraded weapon, or an ether tool that allows you to upgrade the rarity of your loadout weapon that you're currently using. Now, the main aim of the gameplay is to try and complete as many of these missions as possible to build up that points currency, because you're going to want to pack-a-punch your weapon at least once, to then move into the medium threat zone, where you're going to come across tier 2 armored zombies as well as tier 2 zombies. You'll be able to tell their health by when you aim at them if they have like a numeral of 2 above them, which I think is a very nice visual aid, so you know how strong the zombies are. But you're then also going to come across a few boss type zombies as well, like manglers and disciples. So again, unlike normal Outbreak from Cold War, it's not a sense of you're going to be running into that area straight away, because you're just going to be so underpowered that you won't be able to take out any of these enemies. Now, another gameplay element is there aren't just going to be zombies that are going to be present on the map. There's also going to be an AI human faction called Terminus Outcomes, which are Zakayev's PMC, but they are also fighting the undead, which adds a new element to the game, where you can choose to either interact with them and fight them, or you can completely avoid them. And you can even train up zombies and then go ahead and pop an ether storm or a monkey bomb near this enemy AI. It will take them all down. The zombies will literally kill the AI, and you can choose to loot them and take their weapons. And the mode is so dynamic that you can choose to kite zombies throughout different zones. You could take zombies from the highest threat zone possible and lead them back into the medium or low threat to take out this human faction if you want to. But there's also another element to it, where there are a series of different areas tied to this human faction, which are called encampments, which is a sort of outpost which you go in, you take out all the AI. When you complete them, you'll be given a stronghold keycard, very similar to DMZ. Then you'll go and find that stronghold, you'll complete that, and then you'll get access to a fortress keycard, and in there is going to be a warlord boss. I didn't manage to come across this in my gameplay session, but it was recommended to not try this on your first attempt. Now, another gameplay element in this mode which surprised me was that it was very much just like DMZ when it came to the random items that you could find scattered around the map that you could choose to loot that had its own monetary value, that you could then take to a buy station and you could sell it in order to gain more points points. There is a benefit to scavenging and trying to find these rare, valuable items so you can trade them in for points that you could use to get yourself a tier 2 or tier 3 armor vest, or get yourself a bigger backpack, or keep the points to gain towards upgrading or getting yourself perks. I haven't touched on this yet, but it's very obvious that you've probably noticed in the gameplay, but the mystery box is there, and the way it works is very similar to Cold War, where as the game goes on and it gets harder, the mystery box luck and the weapons that it will give you will become rarer and rarer. In my gameplay session, I managed to get the ray gun pretty late on, which was really awesome, but there were two other wonder weapons in the mystery box. There was the Wonder Waffer DG2, which I thought was a real surprise to see, but a brand new wonder weapon that we have some actual gameplay of, which is called the Scorcher. Not much is known about this, but as you can see from the way it works, you charge it up and it releases this massive bolt of purple energy, which seems to just blast a whole horde of zombies away. For all three of these wonder weapons, you can find them just in the mystery box, but you can also find these schematics which are hidden around the map. If you manage to exfil with the schematic, you'll be able to craft the wonder weapon before you go into the map. Now, obviously, this sounds super overpowered, and we brought this up as a bit of feedback, and Kevin Drew at Treyarch told us that the cooldown for the ray gun, as an example, is going to be something crazy high, like 48 hours in real time. So you won't be able to just craft a ton of wonder weapons and go in. But if you explore and find the map and manage to loot and take that out, then you're obviously going to have some rewards. Now, outside of the main sort of contract objectives that you can do, there are also a few side objectives that were not as obvious. There were ones where there was an icon of spores that were inside of a building, and you had to go in and basically destroy all of the spores. That felt very much like an Extinction-esque moment, where once you took down all of the spores, the sort of crystals and purple smog and gas that was in that area clears, and you'll be able to open some crates that give you some loot, such as a tier 2 or tier 3 armor vest, a large backpack, the sort of DMZ things that some of you will be used to if you play that mode. There were some other side objectives going on, like the purple orb that was an outbreak that you could shoot and it would move around and drop a load of points. That was there, but we couldn't really figure out what was changed with it. We need to talk about the end game of MW3 Zombies, which is when you finally go to the high threat zone in the middle of the map, which was called like Old Town, and this has the hardest zombie types out of any other part of the mode. You have no human AI, you have very strong super sprinting zombies that felt equivalent to round 55 that were very strong, plus you have elite zombies, and you have more, such as the Mega Abomination, which is a new variation of the Abomination from the Forsaken. It's 3 times the size from Forsaken, and it has baby crawlers that come out of its stomach. And if it's too big to go into a building that you're hiding in, it will smoke you out with these baby crawlers. So clearly the AI system with these zombies are really, really advanced, which is really cool. But if you don't have a tier 3 Pack-a-Punch and all perks at this point, you are really going to struggle in the high threat zone. And we had a whole 6-man team, which was really cool. Very similar to how DMZ works, where you start off in a team of 3, but you can assimilate and have people join your squad. We had a full 6-man team, and we had another 3 players from a different team all joining us in-game in voice chat, which was really cool from a social aspect. And I think that's going to be something that's going to really be a cool thing to see in Zombies. And we were struggling to take down this disciple boss that was part of a contract to take down. It was crazy. Now we need to touch base on a few other gameplay mechanics which have already existed in Cold War but have been slightly adjusted here. So ammo mods exist within Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, but they are not at the Pack-a-Punch machine anymore. These are things that you'll just come across. You'll get them from reward rifts, or you might just find them by just looting, and all of the ammo mods are here, such as Napalm Burst, Deadwire, Cryo Freeze, Brain Rot, and Shatter Blast. All of the old field upgrades are here, apart from Ring of Fire, which is very interesting. Now, one thing that we got used to with the perks in Cold War and Vanguard is that they had different tier upgrades that made them stronger, but in this mode, the perks are no longer tiered. They're just as they are when you get them, but some perks are returning, like PhD Flopper and Tombstone Soda, but rather than Tombstone working where if you died out in the game and you'll be brought back in the next round, there is no rounds in this. So rather, in the next game that you play, your Tombstone will be there on the map from the previous game, and you'll be able to go to your Tombstone and get all of the items back that you had on you in your previous game, which I think is really cool. Now, a big change to how the perks work in this mode compared to other modes is that when you go down, you won't lose your perks at all. The only way that you will lose your perks is if you fully bleed out. So it's definitely a lot more casual friendly than it's ever been before. The locations of the perk machines are going to randomize every single game, so you have to use the big overview tac map to find the locations, as you'll just see the perk icons all over the map on where they are. And the Pack-a-Punch is not in a static spot either. That changes every single game as well. And the Pack-a-Punch is zone gated, meaning that there is only one Pack-a-Punch area per threat zone, meaning there's 3 locations total, and the prices for the Pack-a-Punch have been reduced to what they were originally back in Cold War and Vanguard, where it's 5,000 points to upgrade it first, then it's 10,000, then it's 15,000, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you are going to need to do a lot of stuff within that 60-minute time limit in order for you to earn enough points to get multiple tier 3 Pack-a-Punch guns. Now, one thing with this mode is that it's a very social mode. It's a very co-op oriented mode where there doesn't seem to be a lot of leg room for solo play. There are a few people that played it solo at the event and they really struggled without being in a team, and I don't know exactly what Treyarch are going to do to balance it for solo, but I just had an Activision PR tell me that they are looking into ways to make it a bit more solo friendly, which is really positive. Now, outside of everything we've spoken about, one of the main things that's going to keep you coming back for a gameplay mechanic is the fact that there are missions in the game very similar to DMZ. These are split into 3 separate sections in the main menu. One is called Welcome to Operation Deadbolt, where it's going to be very much like a tutorial missions where it will basically teach you through the basics of the mode and have you do stuff like using the mystery box and then killing 50 zombies with the weapon you get from the mystery box, or pack-a-punching 3 times, etc. But once you get through that, you'll make your way to the 2nd and 3rd tiers, which will incorporate the story elements and the story missions within the gameplay itself. There's a very split moment in the gameplay that we've been sent to be able to share in our videos that shows that there is some sort of portal that will take you away to a section of the map for that story mission. What we know of thus far is that there will be moments where you'll be teleported to a sub map, which is a completely different section of the map, but we got confirmation that you'll be teleported to a completely different map, which will be very story driven and focused and will be a much smaller map than the massive map that you play this mode on usually. Just like with DMZ, where we have operator slots as well, where you can have multiple characters with their own loot to take in, you will be able to have that within Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. So it sounds like they've taken all the best mechanics and elements that DMZ has gradually gotten over the 6 seasons to be in this mode, which is really good. Now, one thing as well with the mechanics is that the main story missions are going to be available at launch, but Easter eggs are going to be littered around, which will tease the future of the storyline and the future of the main Easter egg quests, as there is the potential of there being main Easter egg quests later on down the line, but there won't be one straight away. Judging by the wording we got from a little Q&A session, it sounds like they have a lot of plans for post-launch support for Zombies in terms of delivering that sort of evolving storyline where we're going to start to see agendas with some of the characters where things may not be exactly how they first seem. Now, Treyarch described the end game part of this game to be like a marriage between round-based and outbreak style gameplay, where it is truly chaotic and the zombies are incredibly strong. I really struggled at this with only just a ray gun. I didn't have it pack-a-punched at all. It wasn't doing any damage. Now, of course, when the storm starts coming in after that 60 minutes, which it did for us, we needed to find an exfil, and we found a point pretty close. Now, it worked exactly like DMZ, where you call it in and you wait the exact same length of time as well for that helicopter to arrive. But very differently with DMZ is once all players on the team are on the helicopter, it has like a 5-second timer and then it lifts off. But with this, you have a hard limit of about 20 to 30 seconds before it lifts off, and this is where things get extremely chaotic, where zombies are swarming around the helicopter, and very much like the transit bus, they are going to be getting on the helicopter, so you need to be able to take care of them and just basically try and survive until the thing lifts off, which is actually pretty dangerous, especially if you're doing it in those high threat zones. And again, just like with DMZ, the end screen to show all of the XP you earned for everything you've done in the game, with the amount of contracts you completed, the amount of zombies that you killed, it all looks very, very similar to DMZ. And we found that this was actually a really good way to rank up guns, where someone managed to get 15 levels completed on a gun within 1 match. I don't know if that's going to change by launch, but that's obviously going to be something to keep in mind for those that are wanting to grind and get those weapon camos. And it was also confirmed by Treyarch that there is going to be a mastery camo grind, and that's going to be for every weapon in Modern Warfare 3, as well as every weapon in Modern Warfare 2. As this mode had guns from both games, there were also pack-a-punch camos as well, different ones for different tiers, and they all looked really nice. They were all animated. They looked really, really good and very similar to DMZ. Anything that you got in that match you exfil with, and you'll see it in your loadout menu. Now, we touched on earlier on the schematics, which you can find, and if you exfil, will allow you to craft a wonder weapon, but they also have that available for every ammo mod as well, so you can craft that and bring that in with you from the very moment that you spawn in. But they also have this for every single perk can as well. But on top of that, there's another element called acquisitions, where if you come across an acquisition and you take it out, you will be able to craft that in the main menu at any time, which we spoke about earlier with the ray gun. So you can find like a weapon case for any of the wonder weapons. You can choose to use the wonder weapon there and then, or you could take it out and bring it in with you into a following game. I really do think this mode has a lot of potential. It seems very fun with the idea of 24 players all on one map at the exact same time. And if you notice at the end of the reveal trailer, there was a slight tease of a massive boss which will require more than just a team of 6 to take down. It might need the entire lobby of players, 24 players, to take down this massive boss. But that wraps up explaining every gameplay mechanic for Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. If you want to watch all the gameplay that was in this video but without any commentary, you can find that on your screen right now. And like and subscribe for more zombies.